What's up, champs? It is Mr. The Rumblin' Man coming to you today from Florida, and in this video we're going to have another tutorial and review related to the Line 6 HX Stomp. So let's get started. So guys, welcome back to the channel today. I am so glad to be here after the NAMM show this year. This is my first video to film being back home here in Florida, and I had a great time at NAMM 2020. You can see a bunch of videos I took there here on YouTube on my channel, and upcoming recap video to talk about it all as well. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of continue this series we've got going of tutorials and reviews related to the Line 6 HX Stomp for a couple reasons. For one thing, the Stomp is an affordable solution. It's an affordable alternative because it gives you the high-end amp modeling and technology with effects from the Helix, but it gives it to you at an affordable price. But with that affordable price comes some limits. We don't have as much capability for maneuvering the device as you do with the Helix. But today I'm going to tell you about a device. I'm going to show you how to plug it up, how to use it, how to get your settings straight to use this thing that is actually going to help you have a little more flexibility in what you can do with the HX Stomp. And that device is the Mission Engineering TT-2. When I was first getting started with the Stomp, there was definitely a learning curve. If you've never used like Helix technology and stuff before, it's kind of a learning process. And while there were a lot of videos on YouTube that really helped me and a lot of guys in Facebook groups that really helped me, honestly, I was wishing that as far as some things went, that there were video tutorials that were a little more clear in their explanation of how to get started with certain things. So in the last video, in this series, I showed you about how to hook up the effects loop and use this with your pedal board. And in this video, we're going to take a look at kind of the secret, kind of the key to using the HX Stomp as an all-in-one. And from the beginning, I wished I could use it as an all-in-one. And my pedal board at church for worship has gone through, all these different phases and all these different settings, all these different configurations of pedals. But here's a picture right now. This past Sunday, I got frustrated with the noise coming from some of my pedals. So I used just the Stomp and the TT-2, and I'm telling you, though I wish I had maybe one more foot switch and a couple more blocks, it was absolutely great. So you can, whether you're playing guitar or bass, whether you're doing worship or you're out playing cover music, whatever you're doing, you can use the HX Stomp as an all-in-one unit for your guitar or bass. And I am convinced that the key to doing that is to have one of these. So you need the Stomp. You need this, and then you also need a TRS cable. This is a little patch cable here that a guy recommended to me from Facebook. It's a flat patch cable. It's the EBS PCF Deluxe flat patch. And what this does, this TRS cable can send a lot of information. So instead of having to run, a couple different cables from this to this and do all this complicated stuff, using this, we can actually just go straight from the TT-2 into the HX Stomp with only one cable. So very cool. I've got a link in the description of this video to where you can pick this up as well. So if you think you're going to get value out of this content today, if you like videos like this, do me a favor and go on and smash that thumbs up button so that YouTube will recommend my video in searches. Also, subscribe. Go on and click that subscribe button. We do a lot of gear reviews here on the Rumblin' Man channel. We do pedals, amps, guitars, basses. It's a guitar and bass channel. That's what it is. So you are welcome here. We have all kinds of tutorials and stuff, and I'm sure you'll have an excellent time. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you kind of on a step-by-step guide of how to get set up using the TT-2, because there's a little bit of a learning curve, and for me, I had to do all kinds of research to figure out how to even hook this up and get it working. But I'm going to show you in this video today, so you don't really have to do all that research if you don't want to. And so I'm going to show you how to set up the settings on your Stomp. I'm going to show you how you can create your own patches using this pedal in HX Edit software. And then lastly, I'm going to show you a couple patches that I have made, which are available to you in the description in this video, called Rumble 1. I've got a guitar patch for Rumble 1 and a bass patch for Rumble 1, and they're both great if you're running direct and want to use the Stomp as an all-in-one unit with the Mission Engineering TT-2. So let's get started. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to switch the camera view over here, and I'm going to show you the settings that you need to first adjust on the HX Stomp itself. Let's take a look. Okay, so now we are looking at my Stomp. Apologize, some of the text is a little rubbed off and stuff because I basically have just been using it a lot. It kind of hangs out in my backpack every day at the moment because I use it live and in the studio, so I try to have it with me. So essentially what we need to do here is, it would be nice, you know, and convenient if it was as simple as plug and play, but it's not, just because, you know, the Stomp has a lot of features to it, and it's a complex little machine. So I'm going to show you how to set up the internal workings of your Stomp so that you can start using the Mission Engineering TT-2. So first thing we need to do right now is we need to go to global settings on the actual Stomp unit itself. We do that by, you see those two page buttons, we push them at the same time. Now we come up to this screen right here, and what we want to do is we want to scroll over to global settings. So right now you can see global EQ, etc. But we want to take the page button here and scroll over. Ignore the tempo thing. And that is global settings right there. So how do we select it? These knob buttons, we push this button. And look at us, we are in global settings, all right, on the Stomp. And there's a lot of great things you can do here, which we'll hopefully cover in other videos as well. So what we want to do first is we want to go to preferences. Now you can use these page buttons to scroll down within the section you're in, and then you use this master scroller up here to go to the different features within global settings. So we're going to go to preferences, and what we want to do is we want to scroll down. Okay, now right here where you see EXP1 and EXP2, that's most likely what your Stomp will say right there. But either way, these EXP/FS switches, what we want to do is make sure we're turning them to, using these knobs, we turn them to FS4 and FS5. Okay, so I have now set those on FS4 and FS5, which are our extra foot switches here. And from there, we want to get out of preferences and we want to scroll over to foot switches. Now when we get to foot switches, like we did just a little while ago, we want to use the page button here, go down, and then right here, this one where it says FS mode, so this one says FS5 function, we got to adjust that function. And what we want to adjust that function to is Stomp 5. Now going back over here to FS4, we need to do the same thing. FS4 function needs to be Stomp 4, okay? So now everything is assigned to where those actual buttons on the Mission Engineering TT-2 are now internally set up to where they can control things within the Stomp itself. So now that we've taken a look at the settings on HX Stomp and we've gone over what we need to tweak in global settings to make it possible to use this beautiful device, I'm going to show you real quick how to hook it in to the Stomp using this TRS cable. Now you will need a TRS cable. There may be other ways to do it, but this is the best way because it allows you to simply use one cable, all right? So Mission Engineering TT-2, you see this jack right here above foot switch 4. It's this simple. You're going to take the TRS cable, plug it in there, okay? And then the Stomp. Then on the far left of the Stomp itself, we have this EXP jack right here, and that's what you want to plug the TRS cable into. So using one of these, you literally can go straight from the TT-2 into the Stomp, and if you've got those global settings set, you're actually good to go at this point. But I know that there's a little more to it, and you know, it's like, Rumble Man, you know, I'm a newcomer to this thing. How do I actually set up you know, the switch to do different things? So I'm going to take you into the HX Edit software right now. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to show you just very simply how to go about creating your own patches in HX Stomp to where you, and how to assign different effects to these different foot switches. Let's check it out. Okay, so here we are in HX Edit. Now you can you can assign different effects and stuff and tweak them on the stomp itself. But I find that's easier in HX Edit if you want to connect to your computer and do it this way. So right now we're looking at my HX Edit screen, and essentially we are looking at a blank patch. Now, I'm not going to set up a super fancy patch right now. I'm just going to go on and show you how I would go about setting up a patch that I would be using the external switches for with the FS4 and FS5 from the Mission Engineering TT-2. So if you want a great patch, one thing to know is, and I'll show you just a little bit on this very video, but I've got a couple in the link in the description of this video that I have made, both for guitar and for bass, for using the Stomp as an all-in-one with this extra switch. But I'm going to show you just kind of how I would do it in case you are new to this, okay? So when I go to make a patch, first thing I do is an amp, all right? So let's just say it's an amp and a cab. Let's say we're making a guitar patch, and I go with the divided duo, all right? Mind you, for now, we only have 6 blocks, here with HX Stomp. Now, I do hear that they will come out with more at a future time, and that sounds great, and hopefully make some videos at that time. But right now we have these 6 blocks, so we have to use them wisely. All right, so I usually put reverb at the very end. I put it even after the amplifier. So I'm going to go, let's see, where's our reverb? Reverb. All right, I'm going to go to glitz. Say I've got my reverb there. Say here I've got a delay, because we all want delay, right? So I want to turn my delay on and off with a foot switch. So with the third switch on the Stomp, I can tap tempo and tune. So I want to assign delay, say, to foot switch 2 so that it's right there by the tap tempo. What you do is right click or whatever you use to right click. You go to bypass assign. So I'm just going to assign delay to foot switch 2, and then it's going to come up on the Stomp itself, and you can see that on the Stomp itself that you applied that. Reverb, I like to program big splashy reverbs. So right now, let's say we got our decay and our mix down here. Well, here's what I want to do. I want to do a bypass assign with a reverb as well at foot switch 1. And to do that, I'm going to go in here because it's not actually going to be a bypass assign. I'm actually going to set it to, say, something like decay, so that maybe when I push foot switch 1, which here it is, so maybe when I push foot switch 1, maybe at first my decay at the minimum is going to be around, let's say I've got it set at about 2.4, then maybe I'll push foot switch 1 and it'll go up to 4.8, all right? And can we test that? Can we test that? Well, one thing, we don't want this to actually be a bypass, so I'm going to clear that one assignment. So now you can even see it actually if I go to the edit. If I click that foot switch, the decay goes up. So that's one great thing that you can modulate some of the very effects you're using with foot switches. But say we want a couple of drives, obviously, if you want a distortion pedal, one of the ones that I like is this Hedgehog. So essentially, if we were just using the Stomp by itself, well, we're out of foot switches now. But with this addition, we can still control 2 more things in the Stomp. So distortion, I would just go to bypass assign. And I would go to foot switch 4, and then that foot switch can turn the distortion on and off. And then say I also maybe wanted another distortion, like my Rumble 1 guitar patch will have a distortion and a boost, but say I want a modulation, say I want tremolo, it's the same thing. Right click or double tap with your fingers on a Mac laptop here, and you're going to assign that to foot switch 5. And it's that easy, okay? So I'm not testing this patch out right now, but from what you can see, I just actually, in just a couple seconds, I created a patch within the HX Stomp's software HX Edit, which also works for the other Helix-related products. And what this is going to do is I just set up, and tweaking would be necessary, but I just set up a patch to where I can use the Stomp itself along with the TT-2 foot switch to control 4 or 5 different things. So it's that simple. It just takes some getting used to. All right, so we've got a good idea now about how to get this working and how to get going. But if you want a couple good patches to start off with, I've made a lot of patches that are available in a lot of different YouTube videos here. But what I want to show you real quick are my new patches for 2020 Rumble 1. And the reason it's called Rumble 1 is because it's one as in one unit, using the Stomp as an all-in-one unit, and doing so with the aid of this Mission Engineering TT-2 or another pedal that does the exact same thing that it does. So essentially, you could use these patches with just the Stomp by itself, but if you want to be able to control everything in these patches as I've set it up, then you want to have the TT-2 by Mission Engineering. So first, I'm just going to give you some audio samples of the guitar patch, Rumble 1, and then I'm going to give you some audio samples of the bass patch, Rumble 1, and we're going to check them out. We're going to see what kind of sounds they can give you, and if you decide, yeah, I want to get started with these patches, then I have them at a very, very, very affordable price in a link in the description of this video. So pretty cool tones. Honestly, that is the patch that right now, late January 2020, that's the patch that I'm actually using in church for worship stuff myself. And I was using it with an effects loop in there with some pedals. But honestly, this past Sunday, like I told you, I took my pedals off the board and I just used this as an all-in-one unit. And I plan to do the same thing again this week, and this is the patch that I've created that I'm using for that. But also the HX Stomp, as I've expressed in other videos, in which I've, did one video talking about, well, is this my favorite pedal for bass? Guess we'll see, right? Rumble 1 Bass is a bass patch in which we take a look at using the Stomp as an all-in-one unit. And the foot switches, honestly, what I thought for this was, I actually used the HX Stomp live at my church playing bass one day, and what I found was I did want amp simulation. What I thought that I wouldn't, but I wanted amp simulation. I liked the sound. But with this particular patch, I decided to do a toggle switch that'll actually turn the amp on and off. And you shouldn't really lose a whole lot of gain or anything. That's kind of how I've got it set. But it'll actually turn the amp on and off. So if you think you want to use an amp sound, the option is there, but you don't have to use it. And then we've also got an octave effect in there and some other really killer sounds for bass guitar in my Rumble 1 bass patch for HX Stomp. Let's check out some of the tones. So guys, that about wraps it up for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Again, if you have, please subscribe to my channel so that you can see my videos when they come out. In fact, hit the bell, because then they'll email you or give you a push notification when Old Rumblin' Man comes out with another video. And also, please hit the thumbs up button if you got value out of this content today, so that YouTube will put my video in searches and help me gain more subscriptions. I got a lot of great things coming up on the channel. Okay, we've got really cool bass and guitar reviews coming up. We have a giveaway coming up. All right, a lot of cool stuff. So you want to make sure you stay in tune. You can check out all my social media and my Patreon as well. Links are in the description of this video. Also, there's a link in the description of this video to where you can get an HX Stomp, to where you can get the Mission Engineering TT-2, and to where you can get the TRS that I used in this video today. Links to everything are in the description, as well as the links to the 2 patches that I have available that you just heard. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for checking out my video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.